Some of us were raised in cultures and in countries where in the name of divine we were used and abused, and we were punished, and we were shamed and ridiculed, and we became weary, and we became very mad and angry at the source and God. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Soulful Intuitive. I have been wanting to talk about this topic from the beginning of our YouTube channel start in January, but I have waited on this because I wanted to make sure that we have enough audience in order to start talking about this. And that is the concept of God, or Mother Divine, or Source, or Universe, or just this cosmic intelligence, that whatever you want to call something that is bigger than us and just infinitely more powerful, more the source of wisdom, the architect of this vast, just amazing, beautiful universe. And I've been obsessed with watching these near-death experience videos and all the people who went through it and lived to tell, and a lot of these people who didn't necessarily believe in anything, not necessarily for any particular reason. Maybe they grew up in an atheist household, or maybe spirituality was just not on the menu for them, and their life just took them on this tangent, and something happened, they almost died, and they came back, and every single one of them has reported connecting to this vast energy of oneness. And on top of that, having done psychoactive ceremonies with psilocybin and ayahuasca, you pretty much feel the same way. Everybody experiences that sense of unity with the Mother Divine, and it sometimes teaches you a lesson, and sometimes you just experience the majesty. And I want to go back to when my spiritual journey started, and that was when I was very young. I think I was maybe grade 4 or grade 5, and life was kind of difficult for me, and I have done whatever I could do as a 10-year-old, 11-year-old to make the problems go away. And of course, there's so much you can do at that age, but I did my homework and cleaned the house and just did everything that I was told as a child that you need to do in order for your life to get better. But life was chaotic, and I experienced pain, and I experienced volatility, and I just wanted everything around me to be perfect, and I wanted everything around me to be harmonious, to be peaceful, and for everybody to get along and everybody to be happy. And I just had it one day, and I looked up and I started praying, and the 10-year-old brain can only understand so much about divinity, and about the power of prayer, and about God, and about these non-tangible, abstract, supernatural world. And yet I closed my eyes and I would pray, and I would pray like God was a person, and I was just going to the shop and I was asking for what I was looking for, that I want this to happen, and I want, that to happen, and I want my mother to be happy, and I want my school to be good, and I want my friends to like me, and so on and so forth. And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and I was just very young, and I was kind of private about what I was praying about. And I started asking around about different kinds of prayers, and how organized religions usually have rosaries, and you have to just say your gratitude towards God, and then you have to sometimes stay up like till 4 a.m. and recite something over and over again, maybe for like 40 days to go, depending on your religion. But all the Abrahamic religions deal with like 40 days and 7 days, and praying after midnight, and special occasions and holy months, and to the point that I just got really knowledgeable about it. And I would I had this like really thick prayer book that was written I think like 1500 years ago or 1400 years ago, and it had all these things that if you want to get this, then say this 1500 times, and if you want that to happen, this prayer is no fail, all your wishes will come true. And I would do it, and of course nothing would happen, and I would get disappointed, and yet I would try another prayer. So that was my introduction to divinity and spirituality. And then I got older, and as I got older, the problems didn't go away, they just got bigger, because now you're an adult, and now you have your own problems to fix, and now you're aware of the world around you even more, because as a child you could only understand so much. Your safety is important to you, and your nest is important to you, and your immediate family is important to you, and you want to love everyone and have everyone love you back, and you want everyone to get along. And maybe every now and then, maybe you want a toy, or you want something that you're interested in, like let's say a class, or and you just want your principal or people in the position of authority in school to treat you right. And that's it. And then as you get older, then then the struggle starts, where who am I? Where am I going? Why am I like this? And am I going to go to hell? And am I going to go to heaven? And where is hell? And where is heaven? And who came up with this? And depending on who you ask and what country you are and which culture you belong to, you get different answers. However, going through all those dark times, and dark times obviously never stops. It just, kind of ups and downs, and ebbs and flows, because, it's this planet Earth. And I never lost my inclination to ask from the universe, or to put it out there. And I remember the first book that really shook my belief system was The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And I read it, and it really resonated with me. This is my holy book. This is my Bible, because for the first time, things were explained in a fathomable, non-antiquated, and palatable way to how things work and how the universe works. And there is no bad angry God, and there is no punishment, and and that, because I didn't understand when I was younger, as why would, for example, God make me gay, and then would also say that you're gonna go to hell. So why would you make someone short and then say, all you shorties are gonna go to hell? And nobody was able to understand, to me at least, but at the same time they were saying, but this God we're talking about, he's so kind and merciful, and he's like no one else, and he's so just unique. But to me, that God that they were explaining to me about was unreasonable, kind of vengeful, and a little bit also maybe on the mentally ill side. And yet you're like, is this a joke? So it took me a while to really get to know that real Mother Divine that exists, and all of these attempts that I've done in order to
to go inwards to get to know myself has ultimately brought me to face to the source. And as they say, in order to know God, you need to go inward. Kingdom of heaven is within us. And when you go inward, you understand the universe. And when you look into universe, you can understand yourself, because we're all we're like, the universe is inside of us and we're inside of the universe. And we're the in the whole spectrum of microcosm and macrocosm, that we can relate these things. That like, if we actually think about the cosmos and the stars and the planets, we can even compare them to where we look inside of the atom, and we see that it's just space between these nucleus of this atom and that atom. It's just nothing but space, and that's kind of resembles when we look up in the sky. So that's why they came up with as above, so below, or as within, so without. So I then started to look even more into Eastern philosophies, like from India, from China, Buddhism, Taoism, and like, the more I studied them, the more I understood, or at least got closer to the more correct understanding of what is the universe and what is the source, and how do we explain divinity to ourselves, how do we understand it. And the simplest way to understand that is from what I've heard from a lot of people who've been going through tough times. For example, this lady I know had to take her child to the hospital, and basically they were told that just say your goodbyes. Something had happened, and they just couldn't really see the child coming out of that. And this lady was telling me that I'm not even religious at all, and I kept finding myself going to the chapel and praying. And that's usually what happens when people are, let's say, on a boat and the boat is sinking, or like they're just about to, like, they're in the midst of a horrible car accident. And just that is a moment where almost all of us look up and ask for help. And that source, that we're all wired, by the way, in that way, that regardless of what we say and what we were told and our upbringing and our education when it comes to divinity and spirituality, those moments we are wired to ask for help and to look out for some magic, for some miracle, for something that we have no control of, yet it encompasses all of us, and we live in it, and we are of it. And if that's all that we can think about, if you want one definition of what is that force, that is that force that we all know deep inside of us, that is running the show. But we have hard feelings towards it, because some of us were raised in cultures and in countries where in the name of divine we were used and abused, and we were punished, and we were shamed and ridiculed, and we became weary, and we became very mad and angry at the source and God. And that's why even people are hesitant using the word God these days, because it just has so many negative connotations when it comes to that word. But in the world we live in, where every day something is reported that maybe is not positive, and it's always doom and gloom, and they're always reporting on this falling apart and that disaster, and like, world's gonna come to an end, and all of that. It's very important for us to have that central knowing and that place where we can go to when we really need help and where we really need to calm ourselves down and when we really need guidance. And I know because, and I'm sure all of you know as well, that in the midst of trouble and in the midst of upheavals and in the midst of difficult times, we often just ask for help, and we might not even admit it to anyone because we might be embarrassed or we don't want to get judged. But it's our secret that we know what happens when we become quiet and when no one's around, and we go deep inside and we connect and we ask for help. And we usually, if it is to our advantage, then it happens, and then we kind of look at it as like, was I hurt, or is that a coincidence? Oh no, it can't be. No. And then we try to bring logic to it. That, oh yeah, of course. I mean, it's happened because of. But as you live long enough, then you have many of those cases where you can't just bring logic and reason behind it, because you really ask for something from the bottom of your heart, whether it was help, whether it was healing, whether it was a miracle, and then it happened. And then it happens again as we get older. And when we maybe are telling people that, oh, we got lucky, or out of nowhere this happened. And all of those phrases only mean one thing, that we sought and our prayers were answered. And we connected with Mother Divine, and just like what mothers do when children are weeping or when children are distressed and where children are really yearning for something, mothers just can't say no. And sometimes they don't say yes because they know absolutely what we're asking for is ridiculous and not good for us. But mothers are very soft-hearted, and that is how I picture Mother Divine, that this beautiful universe was created out of love and out of wisdom and out of genius, and the majesty of the source is so powerful and is so intimidating, yet brings everyone on their knees, and it humbles us that we have like a sparkle of Mother Divine inside of us, and that's why we're alive. And that's why no matter how many layers of doubt and anger and denial you have, in those certain situations and certain points in life where we're desperate, the spark of God inside of us connects us to the divine, and we become one, and miracles happen. So that's a topic that I like to talk about with you guys more, but for today, it's just an introduction, and then we can touch on how every culture from different historical era have gave it a name, have given it characteristics, and have given it an image, and what part of it should we believe and what part of it we should just write off as that was their understanding for back in the day, and or maybe that was manipulated by people in order to control others in the name of divine. And yet it doesn't matter where you came from, what you call your God, and how old are you, and if you're looking for forgiveness or healing, doesn't matter. It's just one source. It's everywhere. You don't even have to have eyes to see it. You feel it in your heart. But of course, we have eyes, we have ears. It's all around us. It's this nature, it's this universe, it's our own body, it's birth, it's death, it's rebirth, it's love, it's compassion. It's this beautiful, beautiful world that we live in. This is all God, and this is all the source, and this is all the majestic power of oneness of the universe. And I would love it if everyone just maybe for a couple of minutes a day just quiets their mind and just go inside and try to connect with that source, because that source is inside of us, but we have to welcome it. And once we welcome it, and once we connect with it voluntarily and willingly, then magic starts happening at every corner of our lives. And then we can share that with others who maybe haven't had the opportunity to go inwards because they're busy or because they just have never heard about it. Thank you very much for watching this episode, and I will talk to you soon in the next episode. Thank you so much.